Cassian Andor's transformation will continue throughout the second season of Andor. This is according to Diego Luna, the Star Wars star. Andor still needs to learn much to become the man he is in Rogue One, and his growth will specifically have to be in the area of teamwork. In this video, we'll be looking at Diego Luna's thoughts on Cassian's story and also the future of Andor. Stay with us. First up, Luna's thoughts on Cassian. Cassian will have to start understanding exactly what he's fighting against. Luna says this will have to happen in the next few episodes after prison. Cassian also needs to start understanding why a revolution is important. He already gets how unfair the world can be, and he also intrinsically understands oppression. But as far as teamwork is concerned, he has a lot to learn. Luna also emphasized how important Cassian is for Rogue One. Season 2 will cover 4 years, and in that time, Cassian's transformation will be front and center. He will become the rebellion's most trusted agent. He takes on an enormous responsibility at the beginning of Rogue One, Luna said. Now we have to imagine what needs to happen for someone to say he's actually the right person for the job. He has to become the person all of us will trust with the task, according to Luna. He has a big transformation on the horizon, and he has plenty to still discover. But the spark is there. We're going to look at the ups and downs of Season 1 shortly. Don't go away. Now, the 5-year run of Andor cannot be done in the same way as Season 1. Diego Luna reprises his role as Cassian Andor in the Disney Plus show. In the first season, we see the 5 years preceding the Rogue One events. We also follow the adventures of Cassian, the titular hero. He's a rebel spy when the rebellion is still in its infancy. Throughout the season, there are plenty of tales of daring missions and espionage to bring hope back to a galaxy in the ruthless grip of the Empire. The first season is done and dusted, and awards season seems to be smiling upon the successes of Andor, and also the brilliant display of craft throughout the episodes. There's still some time to go until we see Season 2, and Diego Luna has made it clear every year in the 5-year run can simply not be done in the same way. He says it's not possible, but that's because of the cast and crew. Imagine, he says, pretending to be the same character he was 20 years before. It's just not possible. And there isn't any CGI that can produce that reliably. Tony Gilroy writes the series. The first season took just over 4 years to come to fruition, and Gilroy is now writing 12 episodes for Season 2. The pre-production has to follow, and the sets have to be built. That and creating the production design should take around 8 months, and then the production will take another 8 months, give or take. It's a long journey with many twists and turns. Every season could take between 3 and 4 years to complete. Then, a quick look at the ups and downs of Andor Season 1. It's not often a Star Wars production hits the screens with the kind of measured sophistication we've seen in Andor. It's not so much a vehicle for all-out action as it is a political thriller. Gilroy, the writer, did a magnificent job. The series is a brilliantly mature view at the galaxy far, far away. Sharp dialogue is bandied about in dark alleys, and people tiptoe on either side of the law. Andor also focuses on a handful of really great plots, and it is filled to the brim with fascinating characters, each dealing with their own issues. Diego Luna's Cassian is a drifter and a con artist. To survive, he spends his days doing odd jobs, but his real motivation is the search for his sister. Genevieve O'Malley's Mon Mothma is a senator, and she's trying her darnest to adapt to the reign of Emperor Palpatine. She spends her time with rebellious outlaws like Stellan Skarsgård, Luthen Rael. He has ambitions to bring order back to the galaxy, and this often results in difficult choices, and he frequently has to leap headfirst into darkness. Then there are the peripheral characters. The subplots are entrenched by people like Bix, Adria Arjona, and Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker, and Kaino Loy, Andy Serkis, to name but a few. All of these characters serve to ramp up the tensions throughout the season and series. While the action isn't the focus of the series, it is brilliantly done. We'll be looking at that shortly. Keep watching. And the villains are just as good. Gilroy's pen also conjures up a collection of ultra-realistic villains. Their actions are all about personal preservation and not the traditional mustache-twirling doers of evil. Denise Guff is absolutely terrific as Imperial Security Bureau Lieutenant Dedra Miro. She pounces on the opportunity for a higher position in the Galactic Empire. Kyle Solar's Cyril Karn is out to mend his reputation, and Anton Lesser's Major Partagas is a pragmatic leader with a solid focus on his work. The crisply edited scenes involving the ISB are always fascinating, even on the odd occasion when the characters are mostly shouting dry exposition. Every character in every storyline is meticulously developed, and Gilroy makes sure that we give a damn when the action starts kicking in. This flies a little in the face of other Star Wars efforts. The goofy Book of Boba Fett and the rather sloppy Obi-Wan Kenobi come to mind, and Andor doesn't use nostalgia as a crutch, nor does it make excessive use of cameos to try to keep our interest. In one remarkable scene where a group of protesters is attending a funeral funeral with a bunch of bad guys staring down at them, one almost expects that one of the old characters would swoop in and steal the Andor cast's limelight. But that doesn't happen. The Andor characters are more than capable of carrying the show on their shoulders. Andor is a story with real people, true emotions, tangible problems, and very substantial personal growth. In a word, it's awesome. The plot lines in Andor are magical. We're bringing you that in a moment, so don't go anywhere. Okay, but what about the action? Action sequences in Andor don't linger too long. They're well executed and exquisitely timed. In episode 11, for instance, Luthen squares off against an Imperial cruiser. He makes a decision that allows for a plausible escape rather than taking on an entire armada of fighters and destroyers. There's none of the clunky CGI or overpowered villains and heroes in Andor. Everyone remains within their capabilities. It is almost as if Gilroy sat down and first established the rules every episode has to abide by before he started fleshing out the storylines. This does tremendously well in keeping the action gripping while it remains properly grounded. The cinematography is something out of this world too. It matches the same kind of aesthetic that charmed us in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Andor feels like a massive film instead of a sci-fi original series because of it. When you bring a production team with high standards and genuine care for the material onto a set, their talent soars. And this is the case with Andor. If you want to catch up on the events in the final season of Andor Season 1, watch the video until the end. Now, the plot is totally captivating. Gilroy has woven various story threads throughout the season, and every one of them is individually captivating. But Cassian's plot is often the weakest out of all the robust characters. The character seems to stumble butt first into the different chapters, while the Cyril Karn storyline also has the propensity to meander. However, the smaller plots around Mon Mothma, Luthen, Dara, and Marva are more than sharp enough to demand viewers' attentions. The twists and turns are always surprising, especially the ISB officer who has ties to Luthen in his rebellion. All decisions the sharp and plucky characters make in Andor have consequences, and every single action has a counteraction. So many TV shows tend to lean on the over-the-top spectacles and contrived plot tricks to keep viewers coming back for more. Andor has chosen to attempt something a lot more profound, and provides more weight to the rebellion than we saw in A New Hope. Now, imagine a series that would increase our love for the OG trilogy. All it will take is a little care and love, Disney. It will probably take some time for Andor to be fully embraced by the Star Wars community, but for many, Andor is the Star Wars we've always yearned for. There's none of the CGI that made Yoda zoom around like a Tasmanian devil, and Luke Skywalker doesn't suddenly appear to tie up a bunch of loose ends. Instead, Andor is a character-driven saga, completely captivating and properly punctuated by intense effects and robust action. Tony Gilroy deserves the keys to the kingdom. Then, the season 1 finale didn't disappoint. Marva Andor's funeral happened in Rick's Row. She was Andor's adoptive mother, and she passed away in the last installment, which leaves all of Ferrix in deep discomfort. When Cassian is informed of her death, he races back to Ferrix to say goodbye. The Empire preempts this, and they occupy the planet. They're still looking for the part responsible for the Alhani heist. But Cassian anticipates their plans, and with a little help from his long-term friends, he opts to save Bix, while the Imperial Security Bureau maintains order at Marva's funeral. From there, things escalate fast. An ISB officer dares to interrupt the last speech Marva recorded, and this unleashes the fury of the Ferrix citizens. They end up going full guerrilla on the stormtroopers. It is this mess Cassian uses to get Bix to safety. Cassian had participated in the Alhani heist, but at the time he wasn't anything more than a mercenary. He had no attachment to the rebellion cause. Yet after the imprisonment on Narkina 5, things change. He seems to accept his fate, especially when he asks Rael to join the rebellion. It was, after all, Marva's last wish to see her fellows take up arms against the Empire. And finally, will there be an Andor Season 2? Absolutely, the series will return for a new season, and filming started on the 21st of November 2022. The new season will be 12 episodes, just like Season 1, but the producers have said the main storyline will develop over 4 principal blocks. Andor Season 1 covered 1 year only, but Season 2 will cover all the time leading up to the Battle of Scarif. Season 2's directors will include Alonso Rizapalakios, Janus Metz, and Ariel Kleiman. That's how we come to the end of this video, folks. Thanks for spending time with us. Remember to hit subscribe, like, and follow on your way out, and keep looking out for our next contribution.